Howdy, folks. My name is Alex, otherwise known as For the Z, and welcome to episode 42 of the Turner's Digest. And as always, we'll start with our disclaimer. I'm not a financial or tax advisor. This is not financial or tax advice. This is for entertainment purposes only, but please enjoy. Patreon.com/Turner's Digest. As always, shout out to Kung Fewer and Cleed for the Cleed tier, as well as welcome to Caleb. We had a new member join. Shout out Caleb. We have a referral page, not super updated. Let me know if you need something. Intro music is by my brother's band Sweaty Lemon, and I've been teasing an album for a while, and they just finished recording it, like at least the raw recordings, and making edits. They have some minor edits to make still, but I was sent over a sample of their, I don't think they're going to release it as a single, but what I would call the single in the album, which is Let's Rock. It sounds pretty good. At the end of this episode, there'll be like a 1.5-minute snippet of it. So stay tuned till the end if you want to hear that, if you're interested. And I'll be sure to share the album on the podcast. I think it'll be out on Spotify. So I'll give a Spotify link to those that want to listen. So there's actually one more thing. I received a Monzo referral from Daniel. I think they still have to do the deposit and purchase, but I should get $20 from that. So thanks, Daniel. Today we have kind of just a hodgepodge of stuff, some updates from me, some stuff I saw. Hopefully no rants today, but we'll see. First off, Apple had WWDC last week, I think. And they made some announcements about digital wallet. They shared that there's a synopsis by user SammyPH200 on Reddit on a daily discussion thread or news and updates thread on Art Churning that they kind of just summarize what happened. So they shared that Discover and Synchrony cards will show rewards points in your Apple Pay purchases, which is nice. I don't think I've seen that, at least in Google Pay or in Apple Pay before, so that's a nice change. And now there's Tap to Provision, a new feature that lets you add cards to Apple Pay, but just tapping it on your phone, which connects via NFC. This has been a thing on Android for a while. I don't know if you can tap to add it, but I know credit issuers apps like Capital One, in order to two-factor authenticate, they allow you to just tap the card to the back of the phone and use the NFC reader to verify the card information within the app, so you don't have to get like a code. I never use it because I never really have these cards on me in person, but it's a nice feature. I know Apple's super strict with their NFC and they tie a lot of things down, and this is one of those features where Apple's the only one that can implement it, and they've added it. So shout out to Apple, I guess, for eventually getting caught up. Next, I think I shared in episode 39 about Wealthfront extra 1% referral boost for some banks, and they were doing it for college employees as well. So I think Harvard was doing it as well as maybe like MIT. But I was trying to find the links again, and I couldn't find it. I put in my show notes, my little tracking doc, which is exclusive on the Patreon if you want to see me build things throughout the week before the podcast comes out of what I'm going to talk about. But I had a link to a Reddit thread that had a link to one of these Wealthfront links for college employees, but I couldn't find it again, and I can't find it on Wealthfront's site either. So it either ended or I just can't find it. So I don't know if that's happening anymore, but I figured I'd call it out. Next, Dr. Credit shared, and a Reddit user also shared, that Robinhood Gold's offering a 1% match on all new money deposited in the account. There is some caveats to it. It has a vesting of over 2 years, and if you withdraw beforehand or cancel Gold, you'll lose it. Gold also comes with 5% APY, so if you are deciding on keeping like your emergency fund or your kind of cash savings in an account, it's not bad to move it over to Robinhood and then leave it in there until the 2 years end of vesting, because you get a 1% match on it. They do track it if you do withdraw. So if you make a deposit, I've seen it in the UI. It shows you that you earn a deposit boost bonus for putting the deposit in. And then once you withdraw it, it redacts that, which is probably was a pain in the butt to implement, but it seems to work fine. I don't think it's too useful. I mean, if you do have a lot of money you want to be depositing in, then it's not a bad option. But they do pay out odd over 2 years and 24 months, and pays out in 24 increments over the 24 months. I don't know if you withdraw at one point if you lose all the payouts or just up until that point. Definitely look at the terms for that, but not a bad option, not super interesting. But I mean, Robinhood's doing a lot of bonuses like this, and murmurs that I hear from what's happening internally at Robinhood, at least like what they're allowing, like I guess not murmurs, what I've gone through of them just letting my account go after these odd transactions that I have with them. I don't have super faith in Robinhood surviving, or I don't really know what's going on there. I mean, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't have any inside information, but it's very sketchy. It's all I'll say. It seems weird. Next, I had some travel that I recently did, and I was able to use my Clear access at Logan. And honestly, I'm super underwhelmed with it. There's like 2 different types of Clear. Whatever one comes with my American Express is the lower one. So there's like 2 lines at Logan. One at the same terminal. There's 2 entrances for Clear. I went to the one. They were like, "Oh, you have this other Clear. Go down the road to the other Clear," which I don't know. I guess I have Select instead of Premier. And I had to go through the setup process, which took like 5 to 10 minutes, and the system wasn't working properly. Like, I have pretty terrible fingerprints, so it couldn't get some of my fingerprints on some of my fingers. So she like verified via my eyes instead as like a backup verification. So she was like, "All right, you have your 2 right fingers, none on your left hand, and your eyes as registered." Even though I registered my driver's license in the app, I still had to do it at the kiosk, and that also failed. She had to like manually type in some information, which was annoying. And then you get to cut the line, but you then join regular TSA, not TSA pre-check. So I have pre-check, but Clear doesn't do pre-check. I think I saw some notice somewhere that said that you'll be able to use your pre-check with Clear at some point, but like pre-check's already pretty short. So Clear's just letting you cut this short line already. I really don't see the benefit to Clear. It's kind of just fast pass just to get to the front of security, but you still have to do normal security. It doesn't seem like a great benefit to me. I know Clear also has partnerships in certain stadiums, so maybe that's useful. Like if you go to a concert venue or a sporting event, you can cut the lines there, which might be useful because those lines can be pretty long, but I'll see if I ever get an opportunity to use that at one of those venues. I also on that same flight landed in and departed from Newark, and it's every time I go there, it just solidifies itself as the absolute worst airport I've ever been in my entire life. Arriving there is not horrible, but departing from there is a miserable experience. I think I left from Terminal B, and I forget what it is. Airside, I think, is the security side, but I don't know, or past security, but I don't know what pre-security side's called, but their pre-security side is much better than once you actually pass security, at least in this area. And in addition, Terminal B has like gates in, I don't even know what to call them, like cul-de-sacs almost, where it's like 10 gates are in a cul-de-sac and each one has an individual security you have to pass through, which really limits your options of like being able to get food or buy anything you want. Also, there's absolutely no priority pass access anywhere in Newark Airport, which is terrible. The food sucks. The people there are miserable. Not only the staff or people that work there, but also just like the patrons that are flying out of there are always, I mean, it's New Jersey. I'm in New Jersey and I know what we're like. And it's also in Newark, which is horrible to get to no matter how you try to get there, whether it's train or Uber, it's terrible. And I swear the air side of Terminal B just wasn't air conditioned. Like, it was so muggy and humid in there. It was just a horrible experience. I mean, like, it's so much cheaper and I think easier for me to get to Newark. I live in, like, my family's from Bergen County, which is like the northeast of New Jersey. So Newark's not exactly close and LaGuardia's not exactly close. And there's no way in hell I'm going to JFK. But I think I'd prefer going to Newark or LaGuardia. I'll have to look at trains between the two. I think it might be just as easy. I think sometimes flights are super cheap to go to Newark, but it's such a miserable experience going there. I absolutely hate it. All right, next, another fail that I realized I've been doing for a while. So I forget, a while back, let me see if I can find it. Discover, back in episode, what episode is this? Episode 36, I talked about Discover offering 0% APY on their cards when you ask. You just like ask in chat and they'll give it to you. I foolishly forgot that that's only for new purchases, not, well, I didn't forget, but I kind of had a nuance that I forgot about. It's only for new purchase in the card. So when I activated this, I was like, oh, sick. I'll just like set my card to do minimum payments and won't have to worry about it. Forgetting that I had a balance already. So that balance that I was carrying, I think it was like $200. I carried for, I think, 2 months, and I was earning interest on that. Like when you go to your statements, it carves it out pretty easily to understand. Like you have $200 that's being paid on 20% interest, and then all the new transactions are not. And I guess I didn't look super close because I do make purchases on the card, so the interest posts, the interest statement, the interest charges kept getting bumped down by my purchases, and I never noticed. So I mean, I've been charged like $600, or excuse me, not $600, about $6 of interest since May when I started this snafu. So I'm not super concerned about it. I'm still earning 0% on the new purchases. I just manually made a payment of like $200, which will cover my outstanding balance. And I'm going to check my next statement to make sure it was applied to the proper carve out. Maybe I'll have to call and verify that. I'll have to follow up in my next statement. But I guess PSA for those that sign up for a 0% new purchase offer, make sure you pay off your statement, which should have been clear, but I kind of forgot. Good thing my outstanding balance is only $200, because if that was something in the order of thousands, that would have really sucked to carry for a while. And talking about using different cards, now that Curve is going to be ending like next month, which is actually really sad. I feel like I'm back in the Stone Ages of having to remember what card to use and not being able to change the card that I charged to after the fact. But because I no longer have this luxury, I need to go back to getting some kind of service or app or spreadsheet that tracks what card is good for what category. And I don't want to have to manually track something like this. I'll have to update a spreadsheet like every quarter with the new categories. And if I ever change my categories, I'll have to go in and change it, which is true if I have an app too. But I'd prefer to have an app that'll just track it for me and update automatically. And in the past, I've used Max Rewards. And the only two offerings on the market that I know of are Max Rewards and Card Pointers. So I downloaded both and gave them a shot and figured I'd cover the differences here. Max Rewards seems the better of the two. I know I've had communications with one of the developers of Max Rewards, who goes by Shui on Discord. Max Rewards actually uses my high quality credit card images in their app. I don't get credit anywhere. I've asked for it, and they don't seem very interested, but I guess I'm happy to provide these. At least it's getting used somewhere. And I recently talked to them and explained some issues that I've had with the app and some problems with the category tracking, like the City Custom Cash card. The select travel includes Airbnb, even though it doesn't like explicitly call that out in their terms. I've used it for Airbnb before, and it does track for the 5% category. So I told Shui, and he updated the categories. At least he said he was going to. And he's going to be adding some new card images in there as well. But I hadn't used the app in a while, and when I logged in, it had some of my old logins with all my bank accounts. So I updated my Bank of America banking just so it could pull my new cards that I had. So like the app works where you can either link your accounts to the app, and the way that they do it is they provide things further than what Plaid can support. So you can normally type in your username and password to Plaid. It'll authenticate with whatever bank you're trying to connect to, and then it'll send like transaction data over and your credit balances over and whatnot. But Max Rewards goes further, and it also looks at like the offers that come with the card. So your Bank of America deals, that'll be in Max Rewards if you pay for the subscription. It'll also track your sign-up bonus progress. And it tracks some other things that aren't available in Plaid, like just these banks aren't giving information on these offers, for example, via Plaid. So what Max Rewards does is it logs in on your behalf on their servers, scrapes the HTML, scrapes the API calls, and gets the information from there for your Bank of America deals, your Chase offers, your Amex offers, etc. When I did that for Bank of America instantly locked my account. They told me that I have to change my password, so I went and changed my password, and then the next day they suspended my online banking, and they told me I had to call, and then I had to specifically talk to a person in the fraud department, and they're like, hey, we had a weird login to your Bank of America online banking, could you verify? I was like, oh, I knew that I signed into Max Rewards, but I wasn't going to go and tell them that I used some third party thing because it's probably not in line with their terms of service. So I was like, oh, I think I logged in on my work phone. And they were like, okay, what operating system was the work phone? And the phone that I used to log into Max Rewards was an Android phone. So I was like, oh, my work phone's an Android phone and my personal phone's an Android phone. And they were like, well, this new sign-in is from an iOS device, which I thought was really interesting and I confirmed with Shuey that when they send the requests off to these banks, they disguise themselves as an iOS device. So that's why it looked like that to Bank of America. But because I couldn't verify where the login was, even though I was like, I'm not concerned with this, I'm sure it was me because I authenticated it with the security code and updated my password. They were like, in overabundance of caution, we are going to completely disable your Bank of America login and require you to make a new one. So they completely nuked my Bank of America online banking account, which had like an easy username, and then they took the username I had and added like a character to it and the year or something, which maybe that was too much to say on the podcast, but please don't try and log into my Bank of America account. But I get that was just annoying. I talked to Shu and he said Bank of America has been a bit more annoying when trying to authenticate with them. But you also have the option in Max Rewards to not verify with your online banking. If you don't trust them and you want to just say you have a particular card, you can just add the card manually to your account. Max Rewards is really intended for the users who are paying for their subscription and want to have this advanced tracking. I'm just using it for category rewards. So if you add a bunch of cards to the app, it'll say like, oh, for restaurants, your best card is your Redstone Federal Credit Union card. That's earning 5% cash back. And it'll update with the quarterly categories so I don't have to remember these things, which is very useful. Over in Card Pointers, they have a very similar offering where you can sync your cards with logins or you can just manually add them. I didn't like Card Pointers because they didn't have all of the categories that I wanted. Max Rewards seems to be more granular with categories, and that's what I prefer. The Card Pointers app, I think, is a little bit better. I know Max Rewards is working on an update to revamp the app and make it a little bit better. But of the two, I'll be using Max Rewards because I need some kind of solution for this because I have 27 credit cards, and I'm not going to remember which one is good for which category. I have my staples. Like right now, American Express is 10x for restaurants until I think a couple weeks from now. Then I'll be using my Redstone Federal Credit Union because that's 5%. For gas, I have my Ducks Unlimited or Redstone Federal Credit Union. But like, if I have a purchase with public transit, I don't remember which rotating category for which card has that. So Max Rewards is super useful for that. Next, my Wells Fargo $325 sign-up bonus posted. My data points are February 26th of this year. I opened the account. March 8th, I had a $501 real direct deposit. March 22nd, I had a $501 real direct deposit. And then June 13th, I received the promotional bonus hyphen Roman numeral 2 credit on my account. I shared it on our churning for the bank bonus threads, and I got some replies that I thought I'd call out here. Someone said that I wait 12 months for my prior bonus to apply again, and I said yes. I received the last bonus on February 24th, and then I opened this account on February 26th. So it is exactly 1 year, and I waited 2 days. And I think that the promotion was scheduled to end like at some point at the end of February, so I wanted to make sure I got this in. And it's good to know that even though it's 2 days, that's enough of a buffer to still qualify. And someone asked, how long after the second direct deposit did you know that you were going to qualify? And I said, I didn't see anything in the app. There's no communications either. According to their terms, they have 90 days from account opening plus 30 days from the end of the 90 days to post your credit. And it came a little bit early before that because I opened the account in February 26th and then June 13th they posted. So that's not 120 days, which is nice. I think this offer's still going. So if you're interested in it, definitely go for it. Wells Fargo's a pretty good account to turn. You do have to keep $500 in the account, so keep that in mind. But it's also a year from bonus posting, not account closure. Let me verify that. Yeah, it's bonus posting, not account closure. So I have a little time until I have to close this account. I do have to keep $500 in there, which is annoying, but not the worst thing in the world. So next, Last episode, I called out that someone mentioned that the Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite, Premium Rewards Elite Lifestyle Credit triggers on an Uber gift card purchase. So I have some data points on that. On June 11th, I made a $100 gift card reload, which literally just go to the Uber app, go to Uber Cash, add $100, use my Premium Rewards Elite card. It comes through as BC space Uber space cash as the merchant the merchant name, and then the merchant description is taxi cabs and limousines. And then going down to from last time, my Uber transaction that I discussed did not say the word Uber on its own. It said UBR star pending.uber.com. I have a feeling that they're just reading the merchant name, and if it has the word Uber without anything next to it, no stars, no characters, no letters, if there's just space, Uber space, that's when it triggers, because the merchant category is not included in their merchant categories that they list. So it must just be the word Uber in the transaction. And then, as I'm alluding to, on the 14th, the meter moved, and then on the 15th, the credit posted. The reason why I don't want to do this is because I'm losing about 20% on this. I get a lot of Uber gift cards for around 20% off, and just buying these gift cards to use the credit is not super lucrative for me because I'm losing that 20%. And I still haven't heard back on my other claims that I submitted with Bank of America, so not great. And I will update if I hear something back, but it is snail mail, and I haven't seen anything in my informed delivery about it coming soon, so we'll see. Next, there's some more updates on Synapse Evolve. Honestly, I can't keep up with it. There's just so much going on. It's a lot. Over on Finance Business Weekly, they cover it fantastically. So if you're interested, definitely check out Jason McCullough's blog posts. But most recently, they are sharing that there's most likely a shortfall that I think they're missing about $80 million that they can't account for. Also, they were having an issue gaining access to the database on AWS that these transactions are held on, because the former employees that they fired are the ones that have access to the admin password in the account, and they can't get in touch with them, so they just can't access it. AWS is trying to figure out how to get in, but I'm not sure if they'll be able to. And also, I think the CEO of Oliver Synapse, Pithak, is already on his next venture. He already filed an $11 million funding new startup that he's working on. So that's super great to see that they are just moving on to the next one. Next, Chase announced that they're opening up a new Sapphire Lounge in LAX, Los Angeles International Airport, specifically at the Tom Brady International Terminal, which I think is really funny that Tom Brady has his own terminal over at LAX, considering he's a long-time Patriots player. I guess, are the Buccaneers in California? Maybe. I don't really know. But that's good to see. It's adjacent to Gate 148. It's 9,234 square feet. It seems small for LAX, according to Doc. I've never been to LAX, but it's better than nothing, which I fully agree with. Next, Dr. Credit also shared that DoorDash is doing a Summer of Dash Pass, 5 weeks of deals. So there's a bunch of deals in here if you do have Dash Pass. I think it comes with the Sapphire Reserve card for free. So definitely take a look at these. Some of them are useful. Like if you shop at Chipotle, buy one, get one free entrees. And I don't think Chipotle upcharges for DoorDash purchases. All these seems to be doing a lot of gift or discounts on DoorDash. So take a look at that. I think there's one active right now for like 60% off of a delivery. And then the second week they're offering new Dash Pass members 40% off of a $50 purchase. The next one is for current Dash Pass members 40% off of a $60 purchase. They also have things like Buffalo Wild Wings discounts, PetSmart, Ulta Beauty, a lot more. So if you have Dash Pass, definitely check it out. It goes all the way up until the end of July. Next, Chase's 5% categories for the Chase Freedom Card has been announced. They're giving 5% on gas stations, EVs, select live entertainment, and movie theaters, which is nice. If you value gift cards, you can buy them at gas stations pretty easily. Or if you just need a gas category, this won't be super useful for me. I already have cards for all of these categories, all earning 5%. 5% on gas stations with my Redstone Federal Credit Union card or my Ducks Unlimited grandfathered in. select live entertainment and movie theaters. I use my Citi Custom Cash for that, or I can also change my Elon Max Cash Preferred card to be that as a 5% category. So I think I use utilities right now, but I'm charging my utilities to my future card, which I'll talk a little bit about here, for 10% back. So maybe I should do that. Next, Dr. Credit also has a post on all the 5% categories for next quarter. So if you want me to read them out, I can. Chase Freedom, Gas, EV, Entertainment, Discover, Grocery, Walmart, City Dividend, Gas, US Bank, Cash Plus, and Elon haven't changed. US Bank, Shopper, don't know much about that one. Looks like we're tracking it though. I think that one also hasn't changed. Customized Cash hasn't changed. If someone has, the Nusenda FCU is gas, hotels, airfare, and education. Langley FCU is Walmart, wholesale, gas, EV. Vantage West is exclusive to Amazon, and that's also selected categories similar to US Bank and Elon. It looks like those categories haven't changed. And then Safe Credit Union, which is in California. This quarter's categories are department stores, utilities, theme parks, Amazon, lodges. Next, there was a Lightning deal, which is now expired, which is, again, as always, the classic top cash back, $2.50 back for spending $15. As always, I bought Google Play Store gift cards and got my cash back for that. Next, I got a check in the mail from Capital One for my Venture X negative balance. So it looks like they automatically, if your statement closes, I think maybe twice, 2 statements in a row with a negative balance, they automatically issue a check for it, which is quite nice. It doesn't have to sit there and I get the money back. I got it in the mail. You just got to remember to check your mail and actually open up the card. Next, there was a lot of hubbub about this Wall Street Journal article about Wells Fargo losing a lot of money on Bilt. And I highlighted some interesting posts that I thought did a good job, or interesting quotes that I thought did a good job of highlighting just what the article is really about. And I'll just go ahead and read those off now. This is directly from the Wall Street Journal. Wells Fargo is losing as much as $10 million every month on program as savvy customers flock to the card, according to current and former employees. Executives made internal projections on key revenue drivers, such as likelihood the cardholders will carry balances that turned out to be inaccurate. Wells has told Bilt that it doesn't intend to renew the contract, which is scheduled to end on 2029, unless economics are changed in its favor. About 6 months after the credit card was launched, Wells Fargo began paying Bilt a fee of about 0.8% of each rent transaction, even though the bank isn't collecting interchange fees from landlords. Jane founded Bilt in 2019. The startup needed a bank partner to issue a credit card since it couldn't underwrite or lend on its own. Its first issuer was Evolve Bank and Trust. Classic Evolve Bank and Trust, a small Tennessee bank, but Bilt wanted to ultimately go bigger. I wonder how big of a snafu it would have been if Bilt was still being issued by Evolve Bank and Trust, considering all the mayhem that's happening with Evolve Bank and Trust. Few projections that Wells Fargo had for the card had panned out. The bank assumed around 65% of card purchase value would be on non-rent generating interchange fee revenue. The reality is inverted. So only 35% of purchase volume is on non-rent generating interchange revenue. Wells Fargo also expected around half to 3/4 of dollar charges to the card to carry over from month to month, generating interest charges. So they expected 50 to 75% of all purchases on the card to revolve to be carried over month to month. In reality, that's between 15 and 25%. So I don't know who was in charge of estimating that, but that is grossly overestimated. And there's some links I put here to a Reddit thread about it, Dr. Credit's post about it, and then Bilt's CEO responded to call outs from the article, but didn't really do a good job of addressing many of the concerns. And I'll read some of the points he made here. Wells Fargo went on record with Wall Street Journal stating, quote, "There has been no conversation amongst decision makers to exit the Bilt agreement. To suggest otherwise is false. The Wall Street Journal chose not to run this. Bilt is a loyalty network driving spend between local residents and merchants. 85% of our members use Bilt's platform with their other linked Amex, Visa, and MasterCards." And he spelled MasterCard wrong in that tweet. Classic. And while less than 15% of our members are Wells Fargo co-branded cardholders, we're excited and committed to our partnership with Wells Fargo. The Bilt co-brand has resulted in 70% of Bilt cardholders being new customers to Wells Fargo, average age of 31, average FICO score of 760. Now, some people pointed out that just because these are new members, new cardholders to Wells Fargo, I don't think a lot of people know that this card is issued by Wells Fargo, so it doesn't really give users a positive view of Wells Fargo. I think all their interactions are through the Bilt app, and the card says Bilt. I mean, on the back it says issued by Wells Fargo, but that's about it. Continuing to quote here, these are highly valuable customers to any bank being acquired at a far lower cost. Banks often spend $1 to $2K on acquisitions costs for premium next-gen customers. Look at Chase Sapphire's example. That I do agree with. I think that it is very expensive to get this specific demographic to get on a card. And they're right. It's not costing them that much. I mean, I don't know how many users they have on the card, but 10 million every month. I wonder how many users that is and how much that's costing per month per user, because it does cost $1 to $2K to acquire a new customer on cards like Chase cards, depending on their sign-up bonuses. Bilt does not come with a sign-up bonus. You just get rent cash back. And I imagine that they don't expect most of these people to be renting for their life. So maybe there's some metrics there they're looking at. Going back to quoting, and we're only 18 months into the co-branded partnership with lots of opportunity to drive even more everyday spend behavior and are committed to making this a win-win together. And then finally, quoting, Bilt's platform is much broader than our co-branded card. We work with all major banks and networks to help drive spend on our rent at neighboring merchants. And like Visa or MasterCard, merchant funds the loyalty rewards when Bilt drives spend from our residents on any debit or credit platform. And they go on to link a different article that they prefer. Didn't really address the losing $10 million every month. I think that he tries to address that by saying that, yeah, they're losing money, but these are good acquisitions and it's cheaper than they'd get elsewhere, which I do think is valid. I don't think Bilt's going anywhere for a little bit. They're really pushing it. So do I think that they're going to introduce mortgage Bilt? No, but we'll see what comes of it. Next, Dr. Credit reported from Reddit that Chase Inc. preferred to offer 120K sign-up bonus. There is a link that's live that's showing this. I would be weary of using this link because often Chase can shut down for these links that are out there that aren't really for you. They're dedicated to particular users, and the link that was posted is no longer working, it looks like. And it looks like this is available in branch on the 23rd, which is tomorrow, and online starting July 3rd. So it's no longer a rumor. It looks like it's verified. It requires, I believe, $8,000 spend. I'm way over 524, so this isn't valuable for me. But for those that are under 524, it is also a bank card or a business card, so it won't show up on your personal report, which is useful for a lot. Next, Visa and MasterCard settlement dropped. So someone on Reddit shared that the proposed Visa and MasterCard swipe fee settlement is likely to be thrown out. This is specifically, I think I've talked about this before, where they planned on lowering the interchange basis points by like 1 per year for the next 5 years, which again, a basis point is 0.01%, which is really low. The settlement would lower credit card interchange fees and make other changes, including allowing merchants to choose which credit card they charge customers extra to use. The pact would lower all rates by 0.04 percentage points for 3 years, and the average rate across the network would be lowered by 0.07 percentage points for 5 years. A federal judge said she was unlikely to approve a proposed statement in a long-running lawsuit that alleges Visa, MasterCard, and large U.S. credit card issuers restrict competition over the fees merchants pay when they accept credit cards. Visa and MasterCard both said they were disappointed, and they think that the proposed pact was a good solution. So we'll see what comes of it. I don't want them to lower the charges a lot, and I've ranted about this before. I'm not going to get super into it, but I think these businesses don't realize how much cash is costing them. There's an upfront cost to credit card swipes, sure, but there's a lot of hidden costs with cash. You have to cash. Going to a bank to deposit cash, from my father's experience, who has his own business, and it's very cash-based, they charge you for that. There's shrinkage of just losing cash. There's the inconvenience of having to go and get cash and have change present at all times. So I think merchants are being a bit foolish on that. Next, there was a targeted Bank of America. I think this was specifically for business cards that were sent out. There was a mailer offering an additional 3% on Business Advantage cash rewards. So turning 3% cash back, turn to 6% cash back, turning your 2% to 5%, your 1% to 4%, which was a lot. I didn't offer this. I didn't see this offer. I didn't have a Bank of America business card. And I also don't know how long this is lasting. I know the cap is on $250,000 of eligible purchase on each of the categories. And it looks like this was for like your cash rewards account, like your customized cash rewards account, but the business version. Some people that got this could probably really hammer it pretty hard, but it's now expired, unfortunately. And you had to receive it in the mail, so it's targeted anyway. Next, some interesting news. It looks like there's now Chase pop-up jail. So Chase now approves for Sapphire Reserve and Sapphire and Freedom Unlimited cards without sign-up bonus. So they can give you a pop-up that says, hey, we can approve you for this card, but you can't get the sign-up bonus. Do you want to proceed? At least it gives the option. I would rather have that than just get a flat-out denial. I know that I think Capital One's facing a lawsuit for doing this and not making it super clear to customers, so I hope that Chase is making it pretty clear. But figured I'd report on this. It looks like the source is from a Reddit post. It's useful to know that this exists, but not great for customers in general. I think it's really about it for that one. And the Reddit source has since removed their actual information about it in the post and deleted their user account. So a bit interesting. Next, in addition to the Apple changes talked about before, I should have put this up higher, but Apple's also discontinuing their buy now, pay later, which they offered within the app. But quoting from CNBC here, starting later this year, Apple said on Monday that it has stopped issuing loans through Apple Pay Later, its buy now, pay later system that launched last year. Starting last year, users across the globe will be able to access installment loans offered through credit and debit cards, as well as lenders when checking out with Apple Pay, an Apple spokesperson told to CNBC. Not super interesting. I mean, I don't think they're super like in this space anyway. They kind of just jumped on it because it was the hot button topic. Everyone was doing buy now, pay later, but I guess they're out of it. Next, Best Buy is offering a discount on YouTube Premium. They're offering 1 month free to new subs and 50% off for 2 months for new and previous subs. I love YouTube Premium. I'm not doing this because I'm still using my education discount for like a student discount, which gets me, I think it's $7.99 a month for YouTube Premium, which comes with YouTube Music. And YouTube Music's been growing on me, honestly. It's annoying when people send me Spotify links and I have to go and search it on YouTube Music, but their like curated playlist seems pretty decent. They have all the music I want. Technically the streaming quality is worse than Spotify, but normally I'm listening to Bluetooth anyway, so it's not like I'm getting audiophile quality anyway. That's the only thing I'd like to improve. One thing that is nice is they offer the music videos, if they exist, directly in the app with the song. So if you're listening to a song, you can tap a button, it'll play the YouTube video corresponding to the music video right there in app and pick up right where you're watching it or right where you're listening to, which is a pretty cool feature. Next, I think I've talked about Blue Dot in the past, but they were an EV charging service, and they're making some changes. And some TLDR that I got from Reddit was essentially they were offering 20% cash back on EV charging, and that's going away. And instead, there will be an in-app charge only. They're offering an in-app charging only that's billed to your linked payment method, as well as all points from cashback and referrals are going away. So my guess is they're just running out of venture capital funds, so they're cutting back on what they're offering in terms of rewards. Next, I don't have access to this card personally. My mom has this card, and she hasn't received this notice yet, but I got a hat tip from Cleat about it. The Visa card, the Verizon Visa card, which I believe previously was offering like 4% on dining, 3% on groceries, 2% on Verizon purchases, 2% on your monthly bill, and then 1% on everything else, is updating to 4% on groceries and gas. Let me actually quote what it is prior. All right, here it is. Previously, they were offering 4% on groceries and gas, 3% on dining, including takeout, 2% on Verizon purchases, including your monthly bill, 1% on everything else. It's now changing to 4% on grocery stores and gas, which is the same, 4% on dining, including takeout, which was 3% before, so that's a boost, 4% on Verizon purchases, and those are purchases made at Verizon, not your monthly bill. Previously, you were earning 2% on your monthly bill. Now you're earning 1% on your monthly bill and still 1% on everything else. So unless your monthly bill with Verizon is like dummy thick, I think you'd be better off getting the extra percent in dining. This is now getting towards like the Uber card realm, which used to offer 4% on dining with no annual fee. This card has no annual fee. The only annual fee is having to deal with Verizon and have them as a service, which they're pretty expensive. And you still earn a 10% off of each month for auto pay, and it's the only credit card that earns 4% off. It's the only credit card that's eligible for auto pay discount as a credit card. I think those changes are good. I have a picture from Cleed of his informed delivery from USPS. That was a scan of the updated rewards, which is nice. So shout out Cleed for that tip. Next, we have a sign-up bonus, a checking account sign-up bonus. This bank is check sensitive, so I'm not eligible to apply, but it's a $200 checking bonus when you open the account with promo code 200cash, perform 10 debit transactions, as well as enroll for e-statements and have $500 or more. And have $500 or more in deposits within the monthly cycle. Within one monthly cycle. So pretty easy bonus. Again, they're check sensitive, so I can't go for it, but figured I'd call it out. Next, I received a letter in the mail for a class action settlement that I'm eligible for. So for a while, at least during COVID, I was pretty heavily drinking oat milk, specifically Oatly oat milk. And I still enjoy it a lot. I don't drink it nearly as much. There's a lot of just added sugars to it that aren't great for you, so I kind of cut back on it. But I was drinking a lot, and I liked the product, so I decided to buy some of the stock. They IPO'd, I think, back in 2021 in like June time, and this lawsuit alleges that in the May 2021 IPO, Oatly represented that they had substantially expanded its production to satisfy increasing customer demands into the lead-up of the IPO, but failed to disclose declining retail market share and shelf space in key markets, significant production problems, including plant shutdowns, and cost headwinds related to increased raw material prices, which in turn rendered Oatly's offering document material misleadingly in violation of the Securities Act of 1933. The federal action also alleges that certain defendants made additional statements after the IPO that materially misrepresented the demand of Oatly's oat-based products and marketing share in violation of the Securities Act of 1934. Defendants deny all plaintiffs' allegations. The settlement amount of $9.25 million plus interest minus fees for attorney fees will be paid out to those that claim. I personally purchased a bunch of Oatly. I currently hold, again, not financial advice, not a tax advisor. I'm going to explain here this was not a good financial decision for myself. I currently own 480 shares of Oatly. I originally purchased them back in 2021 when it was worth $20. It's now worth 94 cents a share. I have lost $1,200 around. The total change in unrealized gain loss has been around 74% loss. My cost basis, instead of dollar cost average down, it's now $3.53. But again, it's worth 90 cents per share ish. So not looking great. I don't know how much they're going to pay out here. They don't estimate how many claimants are going to be. So I'm curious to see what my payout will be. They've required some proof, and I don't have like the trade documents from back then, so I just gave them a printout of my current holdings that I have for Oatly, so hopefully that's good enough for them. We'll see if it pays out. The hearing is supposed to happen on July 17th of this year. So, and the payouts probably come the year after because that's normally how that works. But you have until July 25th to submit a proof of claim. So we'll see what happens. Next, American Express acquired Tock and Roam, ROOAM, which are both dining booking platforms. According to Doctor of Credit, American Express has announced that it will acquire Tock from Squarespace and in a separate deal acquire Roam. Tock is a reservation table and evenement. I don't know what that means. Event. Apparently it's Dutch. Event management platform, while Roam is a technology company that powers mobile payments, ordering, and integrations with point-of-sale marketing and loyalty systems for restaurants and entertainment platforms. American Express also acquired Resy in 2019, which apparently they're just busy in this space. And then over on our churning, someone gave some decent insight into this, that Chase Dining runs on Tock. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen of that. This user also goes on, user Mushu Pork said that they always found Tock to be too sparse unless you're in a metro area, not to mention that Chase's 10x on dining only counted towards prepaying on Tock. Talking about it just reminds me of what a worthless benefit it was. So it looks like it's not going to be a big loss to Chase, but I'm curious to see what's going to happen there. Next, I discussed Future a little bit earlier, but it's a debit card that offers cash back for like environmentally sound purchases, and they're doing a double cashback event until the end of June. So they often offer 5 or 6% on certain categories like public transit, biking and bike sharing, thrifting and secondhand, reusable cups and mugs, electric ride shares, community solar, which I personally use, eating plant-based foods, and electric scooters and bikes. So they have a offer going on right now with Arcadia, which I signed up for a while thanks to Doctor of Credit. They shared that they were giving like $200 away, but then Arcadia never wound up paying out. But Future has a partnership with Arcadia where you pay your Arcadia bill and you get 10% back on your utility bill. And Arcadia is essentially, it's offers in certain areas where you can join a community solar farm where you pay your utility bill through Arcadia. Your utility bill gets sent to Arcadia. They offset your utility usage with a community solar farm and then give you a discount on it. So Arcadia always gives you a 10%, at least gives me where I am in my community solar. I always get a 10% discount on my utility bill. And I think I don't really know how it works, to be honest, but I think Arcadia diverts specifically what I used for utilities to the grid in my area. And then I get a 10% discount on top of it. On top of that, I get a 10% discount from Future for my utility bill, which is nice, especially during the summer. I have nothing but window units, so my utility bill can get racked up. I will say that sometimes I've had some issues with Arcadia. Like this month, my Arcadia bill like tripled to like $200. And I called and I was like, what gives? And they told me that last month I wasn't given a credit for my Arcadia bill, so it got put onto this month. So she like amortized it to where like my National Grid account had a negative balance of like $120. So they like overpaid it. So I had to pay the offset that they gave National Grid. So instead of doing that, they just took the negative balance from National Grid, applied it to my Arcadia bill, and then I owed my normal payments for this month. It's a bit confusing. I don't totally get how it works, but I think I'm saving money in the long run, and I get to pay with a credit card or debit card without a fee because I'm charged a fee to pay with National Grid. But I figured I'd call that out. Let me see if I have a referral for Future. Yep, I do have a referral, which is now in the show notes, which is sign up and spend $50, and you'll get 15, and I'll get 15. So if you're interested, you can sign up there. There's also debit funding in that app, if that seems interesting to you. I think it's a pretty low cap of like $500 a month, but hey, why not? Next, Dr. Credit shared this back on June 1st. I don't think I called it out before, but I just signed up for it, so I figured I'd call it out. AMC Stubs Premier, you can join as an old or new member for $15 and get 5 bonus bucks. I like to go to AMC. There's a new movie out. I think it's like The Bike Riders that I want to see. And seeing it on Tuesdays with AMC Premier gets you $5 tickets on Tuesdays, as well as free size upgrades for popcorn and stuff, as well as you accrue rewards really quickly, which is nice. It's like I think you get like 5 or 10% back on all purchases towards like AMC bucks, which you can use to buy tickets or buy like food at AMC's. So I signed up for a year. I get pretty good value. You also get your the online fees waived, so you don't have to pay any service fees for booking online, which is nice. Next, we're almost done here. Dr. Credit reported that New York Staples are no longer offering Amazon gift cards in store, which is annoying. I know New York has some weird laws for stuff like that, so I think that's why. Next, Dr. Credit reported that Party Pass is adding escape lounges, 10 escape lounges to Party Pass, including ones in, I'm just going to read them off here: Bradley International Airport, John Glenn Columbus International Airport, Cincinnati Northern Connecticut International Airport, Greenville Spartanburg International Airport, Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport, Oakland International Airport, Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport, Rhode Island T.F. Green International Airport, Sacramento International Airport, Sacramento International Airport Terminals A and B. I saw that someone said that these lounges are normally pretty packed with American Express. I think American Express, maybe Centurion, maybe like their platinum cards get access to these lounges. So now that Priority Pass is going to be there, it's going to be even more crowded. So not great news, but hey, I don't think I'll fly into any of these airports, but if this is one of your locals, now you get access. Nice. Final things here. My Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite annual fee is due soon. I paid it I opened the card on the 2nd of last year or the 20th of last year, and I haven't seen it yet. But when I do see that, I plan on calling and trying retention. Curious if anybody has retention experience with this card, Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite. I plan on quoting the miserable experience that I've had with Lifestyle Credit, and I don't think it's worth it for me to have the card. If they give me a retention offer, I'll definitely keep it. If they don't, I might keep it still. We'll see. Next, there's a really good Axos sign-up bonus out right now, which is for $500. The requirements are kind of annoying. You have to set up $1,500 in direct deposits per month for, I think, 6 months. And then each month you'll get $100 up to $500 total. In addition, you have to have an average balance of $3,000 in the account. So the requirements are annoying. You have a year for last time you've had this offer, and I've been over a year since I received my Axos bonus. So I'm eligible. Axos has been pretty terrible in the past with honoring these bonuses, so be wary of that. I applied and I went pending, so I'll keep y'all posted what happens there. And then finally, just a bit of a side tangent. Back during COVID, I have a friend whose uncle worked for Bose, and he got like 50% off everything at Bose. We were refurnishing our backyard and bought some outdoor speakers. Got them for 50% off. It was great. Since then, the speakers have like blown twice. We've mailed them off to Bose for free. They repaired them for free. I think both times replacing at least one or both units entirely, as well as an amp that came with it. A really overpowered amp, but it has like cool Wi-Fi features. That we've replaced twice, and on the most recent replacement, we sent it in. I think it was due to water damage, which you're not supposed to cover for water damage, but they've replaced it in the past for it because, like I'm going to get to here, I love their customer service. And I haven't done any of this. My mom has done it. So I have great hopes for other people being able to do it. The amp was no longer being serviced by Bose. And my mom explained that we've had pretty terrible experiences with both the amp and the speakers, at least longevity. The customer service has been fantastic. They've always replaced it. But we've had to mail these things in a couple times now. And the representative said, "We're so sorry to hear that. We're going to upgrade you free of charge to the newest amp," which is still not waterproof, but she plans on keeping it indoors now with just having a wire going outside, which is much easier than remembering to bring it in every night. But I just wanted to call out that Bose's customer service has been fantastic. We also got 50% off the purchase originally, and we've gotten it replaced multiple times now. So at least Bose stands by their products, which I feel like isn't super commonplace anymore. I feel like you have to really jump through hoops to get things replaced. They do actually service the products. They receive them back. They receive the product, they service it in-house, and they like replace the drivers and then tell you what they replaced, all free of charge, which was nice. It's under warranty, I think, for like 5 or 10 years. And the speakers are designed for outdoors, so there shouldn't be really an issue with us using it there. All right, that's it for this episode. As I alluded to in the beginning, if you've made it this long through this hour of me talking, there is a song that's going to play now, at least I think like a minute and a half. I give the first little snippet of the song. Don't want to put the whole thing in here. But this is I call it their single from my brother's band, Sweaty Lemon. They have a singer now. Their guitarist is now singing. I'm glad they added a singer at least. It sounds nice. So without further ado, please listen to the snippet of the new single from Sweaty Lemon called Let's Rock, coming out to streaming services near you soon. Thanks for listening as always, and talk to you next time. Enjoy this snippet.
Got nothing to lose, and I can suffer. I got a bomb inside that can't be defused. So where's your money? You put it on the line, you make a bet against me. Well listen buddy, I'll show you darkness like you wouldn't believe. Oh, you know you got some work to do. You say you want it all, I'll take you one by one. Oh, don't you think you might be in over your head? You say you wanna go and you say you wanna roll, let's run. I'll take your money when it turns to abuse. I laugh it all off. But there's a point in which you blow up the fuse. You know when it's too late.